Hey guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. Wanted to do the trade review for today, Monday, and cover a couple basics. So first, let me go over what the trade plan was. This morning was the most basic and direct trade plan is where we plan to attack is on the first touch of the zones. When we touch the zone for the first time, here I'm going to draw it out. What the idea is, it comes up, touches the zone the first time, and rotates down. That's the general principle. Same thing from above. Comes up, from above, below, and then pushes higher. So the question always is, when you're trading is, well, the first thing I always want to know is, did today's zones actually work or not? And so let's go ask that question right out of the gate. So we obviously opened right in the support zone. It actually opened just above and pushed down below and rejected out. I'm not going to count that as a positive test. Usually I want it to open above and push down, or open below and push up. So there really was no trade here for me to have from the long side. Secondly, what we were looking for is we had three characteristics that we were looking for this morning. First of all, did we have an open drive higher that's categorized by generally 3 bars that are up? First 5-minute bar marks the low of the day, and since we were gapping up, and additionally in that open drive higher, are we able to achieve half gap or gap fill? So we were obviously able to achieve half gap, and we obviously did not have gap fill at all, right? So that told us early in the morning that buyers were in control. What did that mean? Immediately, we wanted to get aggressive. If we were going to take shorts, A, it meant that shorts were very aggressive, and B, that we were going to be aggressive and covering up. At least I was, right? So the first place for me to take a short was not Globex High. Again, Globex High did not land in a support resistance zone, therefore we did not take Globex High. First time into 2083.75, we took it. And right here, you'll notice, if you look very carefully, usually we look for, usually in the trades, and I'm going to be as very explicit and clear as I possibly can be. Usually when we look for trades, we're looking for the first move into the zone. That was accomplished right here. We're then looking for a 2-point rotation lower. If you'll notice, one time we touched the zone, we were unable to get any kind of significant rotation. If you'll look in the 5-minute bars, there's simply no counter rotation here. So this trade, if you're taking it, also it's landing in the first 30 minutes of the day. This, if there's going to be condition flags like they have at the beach, you know, white, yellow, or red, this would be condition red. Very dangerous conditions to essentially fight the market and take a trade. So we took this trade. We were able to get 5 to 6 ticks. If you'll notice, we did, if you'll go measure, we actually did get a 2-point rotation down. However, I took this trade off at 4 and 5 ticks, closed the position out, and as you can tell from the price action, rightfully so. Now, after this trade, so the first question to ask, or that we want to ask here, was, A, did the zone work, right? What are the requirements for determining if the zone worked? Did it give us an exit within 20 minutes or a reasonable stop where we didn't take a full stop? Usually the stop is 2 points behind the zone. Check. It did that, right? That's going to be important later in the day. Next, did it give me an opportunity to take profit and give me a rotation down? Check. It did that as well. It met our 2 criteria. The zone was well placed. The trade was aggressive. We covered it aggressively, and it worked out. That was all plus. As you can see, the rotation size just narrowed and narrowed and narrowed as the day proceeded, and we did not take this trade. I did not take 2088 and a quarter. That was a plan from before the open. I felt that if we were going to reject, we were going to reject out of the zone. The rejection never came, and therefore there was no trade for me here, even though this obviously rejected right out of Friday's high. I thought buyers were in utter and total control. So the next thing we look for is where is the next zone? And this, before the open, was where I wanted location for my next trade. The question becomes again, well, if you look at this zone, you're like, wow, Simon, well, just kind of blew right through this zone, right? Did the zone really work? Let's go look in detail, because the zone actually did exactly what it was supposed to do, okay? First of all, going into the zone here, you'll notice that we had little to no counter rotation. It's pretty much up. But what we did have was a rotation basically from the swing low here of 2082 all the way up into 2093, 2095. Usually, when you have a 10-point plus move to the upside, you're generally going to get a rotation lower. Today was different, right? We can't control the conditions. We already did a very good job, right? We slowed down our trading. We'd only taken one trade. And I thought, well, this is a good place to get extension and maybe some rotation back for a lift back up into what I figured would be this 2098 3/4, 2100 at the end of the day, right? I take the trade here. Obviously, shorts were getting very hard squeezed. But if you look at the zone, right, we spread this out just a little bit more. Remember, what are the requirements? First time into the zone, does it give us an exit or a profitable trade within 20 minutes? Meaning, does it contain it long enough for me to cover with a minimal amount of damage? So let's look. And let's count it out directly because I like to try to be as specific as I can so people understand what I'm trying to achieve. 5, 10, 15, 20. So if you stopped it out right at the end of this bar, you had about 2 1/4 to 2.5 points of loss in this trade. So was the mission accomplished? Yes. Usually my stop is 2 points behind the zone, which would have put me at 2097 1/4. I was able to stop this out right at 2096, which was 2 1/4, 2.5 points from my entry. Mission accomplished, right? That means I didn't have 4 points worth of stop. I had 2 1/4. That's closer to a 1-to-1 ratio in most markets. I understand today it wasn't given it to me. Secondly, look at the time of day. Afternoon trades are always more aggressive than morning trades, right? We have fewer participants. There's less response. So this zone did its exact job. However, I still took a stop, and this stop put me down since I only took 4 and 5 ticks on the first trade. This trade essentially put me down 6 ticks on the day. Right? So I have a very simple rule in the afternoon. If I get stopped out on a zone in the afternoon, remember, the zones are usually, they've been floating at about a 90% win rate over the last 2 months. If I get stopped out, I have 1 or 2 ways of handling it. But I always want to handle it from a tactical standpoint, from the standpoint of what gives me the least amount of damage. If the market were, quote, healthy, meaning the VIX were up a little bit and we were getting proper counter rotation, this would have given me at least a 1 point profit. Because it did not, right, and I can't stress this to the guys in the room enough, I can't stress it to people who are not in the room, right? I really hate getting stopped. It's something that I'm really actually bad at emotionally, and I have to work very, very hard at adjusting to mentally. I have to adjust to not getting overly upset about my stops, right? Why? Because that causes me to make knee-jerk reactions. And the most common knee-jerk reaction I have is I got to fix this right this second. Right now, I've got to fix what is going on because this is a terrible thing. And that is completely the wrong reaction to have. So I have written rules, and this is very simple. It's already late in the day. I just got to stop. I generally hate shorting in the last hour of the day. Why? The market generally kind of does this. Right? And while it did come down in the last hour today, really wasn't even the last hour, it was the last 15 minutes, right into the close of the day, right? I just simply stood aside and I didn't take this zone. So I want to explain that for a second. I want to explain the importance, why that's important. Where I stopped this trade out, there was minimal damage today, right? I'm down 5 or 6 ticks for the day. It's pretty much nothing, right? It can be made up really literally in the first trade of the day tomorrow, assuming we have any kind of volatility in the trade. Secondly, all the market is offering me is short side trades in a market where the buyers are clearly in control. See, the stop of these zones is extremely rare. Even zones like this, where I consider it weak, we got a rotation back down off of this zone. So the fact that this zone got stopped, right? Think about if someone was going to shoot you, right, instead of just take your money from you, right? And let's say one of your comrades, if you're in a military unit, got shot here, right? Are you going to go, okay, buddy, it's your turn to send another one of your buddies out to get shot? Thinking your money is your buddy, right? Or are you going to go, hey, let's wait till it's better conditions so they don't take my man out at the next zone? It's the best way I have of thinking about that in terms of where am I going to take risk. Normally on a 10 to 13 point rotation, I get a rotation down. That did not happen today. Lastly, NQ, if you look at NQ, is breaking out to new all-time highs. It leads the market, right? So the market did sell off. People got trapped. They got short squeezed. I got caught in that, but I had very minimal damage here. I did not take the trade here out of discipline, right? I'm only down a little bit of the day. There's no need for me to freak out and try to recover everything. That only leads to huge holes, guys. And those of you who have difficulty with discipline know exactly what I'm talking about. I can take comfort in knowing that I had the zone in the right place, right? And it gave a good rotation. That's great. That lets me know that this was an anomaly. I can take future zones with confidence, right? And lastly, what am I looking for tomorrow? So this is key. Tomorrow I want to see what we did not have here. And I'm going to, let me erase this real quick and show y'all. I'm looking for a couple of things. First of all, on NQ, let me see if I can erase this real quick. Let's get a new chart up here. Okay. So on NQ, what's the first thing I want to find out? See this right here? We bring this chart in. What we will see, I think, we'll bring it in close enough. Here we are. Here's the old year-to-date high. Put that right there. There we go. Let's move this over here. Here's the year-to-date high. Okay, think about this. In order for there to be any downside rotation or for late buyers to be trapped, right? I want you to think about this really carefully. What has to happen? We have to get NQ to get below 46.77 and a quarter. If NQ does not get below 46.77 and a quarter, forget about the shorts. Guys, NQ leads the market. It's been leading it. It led it to the upside today. If we don't get below 46.77 and a quarter, put your hands in the pockets on the shorts. The easiest way to look for rotations down to get long side trades. Even if we get below 46.77 and a quarter, look at NQ. Look at this thing. It's been on a tear, right? Buyers will be in utter control until at least we close this gap, right? And we close this gap right here, right? I would expect a constant in NQ on pushes down this pattern, actually, and this pattern in particular, over and over and over again. The next thing that we're looking for. So we know now we don't get below 46.77 and a quarter. There's probably no short in ES or in NQ. That'll be viable or profitable. You'll be spending a lot of energy trying to get the market to the downside. Next, excuse me, look at ES. Let me pull up the 5-minute chart here. What do I want? Well, first thing that I like to see is get below last week's high. It's right there, sitting at 2088. Just call it 2088. If we don't get below 2088, guys, there is no downside trade. That's last week's high, right? In order to have a bear market, you got to get below the prior day's low, and you got to get below last week's low, right? If you don't have that, you don't have any kind of downside momentum. Again, look for the rotations back up. Next, back to the upside. Next, look at the price action we've had most days. Almost all rotations down have pushed back up. And you can go back and look. I expect this pattern to continue over and over again. I'm looking for location on rotations of 5 to 10 points lower. First time into zones, which I published to the members, right? And I'm looking for the rotations back to the upside. How long will I keep doing that? Well, let me tell you, at least at a minimum until the market can get below and hold below this point right here, 2051, and importantly, until we extend considerably to the upside and get exhausted, right? I'm going to be looking for rotations lower to get long side position. Long side's easiest in this market. Eventually shorts will work, but they're just simply not working very easily right now. And if you're looking for a way to get the easier trade, looking for a long side position simply makes sense. Anyways, that's my 2 cents about that. I kind of gave you a picture of what went on today. We certainly want to see some counter rotation within the 5-minute bars and some higher volatility within VIX. This was hard, and if you put your hands in your pocket and did nothing today, there was really no good long entry. There's really no good short entry, and being patient was very, very profitable for most people. To the longs who caught this move to the upside, that's great. Realize a lot of people have been bone crushed on the short side. There's no rule that says the market has to go down, folks. Zero, right? So whether it makes sense or doesn't, illogical or not logical to you, if you're a day trader, who gives a shit? The point of the market is to trade what it gives you. Today gave us very, very little to work with. Anyways, my name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. If you'd like to get an edge in your trading, please join us in the room. You can email me at tradeandperform@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to extend a 5-day trial into the room. Hope everyone had a wonderful day, and we look forward to having a better day tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.